Hello everyone, welcome to Learning Literature with Purva. In today's video, we are going to talk about the modern age. We are going to look at the historical background of the modern age and then we will study the literary features of the modern age. Now, plenty of things have happened in the modern age. There were the two world wars, there were colonial wars, Russian Revolution, and so much more. And also plenty of literary movements were going on during the modern age, which we are going to discuss in detail in this video. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Now, the modern age started right after the Victorian age from 1901. So it begins with the start of the 20th century and continues till 1965. So with the end of the long reign of Queen Victoria, the stability and peace of the Victorian age also ended. Modern age was brimming with chaos, disasters, problems, and there was no peace anywhere. The modern age suffered the blow of the First World War and the Second World War. World War I started in 1914 and continued till 1980. The Second World War started in 1939 and continued till 1945. So society became fragmented, people lost faith in God, people lost connection with nature. There was uncertainty and chaos all around. Let's now take a look at the historical background of the modern age. Number 1. Spirit of interrogation. In the modern age, no one believed anything without proof and logical reasoning. The scientific revolution and the two world wars shook people's belief in church and religion. People lost faith in God. Number 2. Anxiety and frustration. As people lost faith in God, there was nothing that could keep them hopeful and positive. Moreover, there was tremendous development in the field of technology and industry. Modern age is also known as the age of machinery. There was competition between industries, which again led to a lot of anxiety and frustration. Moreover, the after effect of the two world wars was traumatic. Many people lost their job and there was uncertainty and anxiety all around. So sentiments, emotions, feelings, values, all of these lost their importance in the modern age. Number 3. Interest in the working class people. In the modern age, the working class people were no longer helpless. There was growth in the Labour Party and the working class people were treated much better. And the poor and the working class people in fact became the raw material for realistic dramas and realistic novels. Marxism and socialism. With the advancement in technology and industry, there were many social and economic changes. Money became the most important factor. Villagers migrated to cities for jobs. Economists raised their voice against poverty. Marxism and socialism gained a lot of popularity during the modern age. The Russian Revolution of 1917 resulted in the establishment of the communist government. Next, interest in psychology. So Sigmund Freud published The Interpretation of Dreams in 1900, which resulted in a deep interest in psychology. The Freudian theories became very popular and influenced many literary works of the modern age. The Great Depression from 1929 to 1939. The First World War resulted in massive destruction and poverty. The aftermath of the First World War was the Great Depression from 1929 to 1939, which affected the global economy. It was the worst economic disaster till date. Banks closed, stock market crashed, and there was unemployment all around. Power shift from Britain to USA. The United States of America participated in the world wars and emerged as a superpower. Britain lost its economic power and America became the superpower. Britain's economy collapsed after the world wars. Colonial wars. Now we know that Britain had colonized many countries including India. So modern age was a time when the colonial wars happened, due to which Britain started losing its power. The Boer War or the South African War from 1899 to 1902 was one of the first colonial wars against Britain. Then we have the Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, which dominated India's movement for independence from Britain. Next, spread of education. The Education Act of 1870 strengthened in the modern age. So now even the poor people had access to education from elementary school to university. Therefore, literacy became the new normal. Everyone was allowed to study. And therefore, there was mass production of literature and plenty of books were published. Voting rights for women. The 1928 Act gave women the rights to vote. It is also known as the Equal Suffrage Act, as women were given electoral equality with men. So this resulted in feminism being one of the most important movements in the modern age. So now that we have seen the historical background of the modern age, let's now take a look at the literary features of the modern age. Number 1, stream of consciousness. So we have seen that Sigmund Freud published The Interpretation of Dreams in 1900, which resulted in an interest in psychology. So modern writers were very much interested in the functioning of the mind and consciousness. So this resulted in stream of consciousness novels that became popular by the works of Virginia Woolf and James Joyce. Number 2, non-linearity and free verse. The modern writers ignored traditional meters and rhyming patterns. They loved writing poems in free verse, and also when they were writing novels, they tended to write in a non-linear way. The non-linearity of plots showed the fragmented nature of society. Number 3, pessimism. There was an overall mood of pessimism in the modern age. The modern writers saw a decline in the human civilization despite the progress in science and technology. Relationships between man and man, human beings and society, human beings and nature were all worsened by the world wars and by the modern technology. Therefore, there was an overall mood of pessimism, which we can see in works like T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. Number 4, literary movements. So there were plenty of literary movements in the modern age. Number 1, Dadaism. It was a movement where the artists rejected logic, reasoning, and beauty of the modern capitalist world. They expressed irrationality, nonsense, and protest in their work. Number 2, Imagism. It was a movement in poetry pioneered by Ezra Pound. Imagism meant describing visual images in simple language and with sharp focus. Number 3, Surrealism. It was a movement in art and literature which focused on the unleashing of the creative potential of the unconscious mind. Some of the features of surrealism are dreamlike scenes and irrational positioning of images. Cubism. It was a movement in art which tried to show all the possible viewpoints of a person or an object all at once. It was pioneered by Picasso. Next we have Expressionism. It was a movement in poetry and painting which showcased the subjective experience of the artist. Every artist or poet has his own way of expressing his emotions through his art. And these artists and poets tried to convey their emotions rather than reality. And finally, we have Symbolism, which was a movement in art and literature, where the poets and artists tried to express their individual emotional experience through the subtle use of symbols. T.S. Eliot, in his poem The Waste Land, had used plenty of symbols to show the problems in the modern society. After the literary movements, we have the war poets. The war poets participated in the First World War and wrote about their experience. They wrote about the futility of war. They wrote anti-war poetry. And some of the war poets are Wilfred Owen, Siegfried Sassoon and Rupert Brooke. And finally, we have radio and cinema. Both radio and cinema gained a lot of popularity in the modern age, and they impacted literature in various ways. Radio brought literature in everyone's home because plays, novels, literary discussions were broadcasted in radio. Similarly, plays and novels were adapted into cinema and therefore they became more popular. So that's it for today's video. If you need help in understanding the history of English literature in detail, you can check out our upcoming course, History of English Literature with Major Writers, on our online academy, www.learningliteratureWithPoorba.com. It will be a set of 28 live classes where we will discuss all the literary ages and the major writers of each age. Classes will commence from 22nd February and will take place every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I hope you liked the video. In the next video, we will discuss the major writers of the modern age. Do like it and share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also stay connected on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for watching.